Greetings, learners, and welcome to week 4. The focus of week 4 is different types of text. So different prints that students can learn the social sciences from. So we're going to start with teaching with current events, the twin text assignment, and a reading and discussion from the book. So for number 1 is watch this video that you're watching right now. Good job. Number 2 is teaching with current events. So you're going to watch a video about teaching with current events and then review some resources and post to a Padlet again. So let's take a look at Blackboard. Here we are in our course. We're going to week 4. This is the video to the Edpuzzle. Okay, so you're going to click on this link or log right into Edpuzzle. You're going to answer a couple questions. They are short answer. Then you're going to go into current events on Padlet, and you need to review these resources. Then on Padlet, be specific to resources you would use and why. So they really need to explain why you would use that resources. You can't just say, I would use the New York Times and I would use Newsela or Newsela, depending on how you want to say that. And you have to be more specific so that I know. It's called the twin texts, and what you're going to do is compare a textbook and a piece of children's literature. So what we mean by a textbook is something like this. You know it from school. It's one of those big giant books with lots of information in it. And sometimes this can be hard for students to find accessible because it's a lot of informational text. And when you pair something like this with a piece of children's literature on the same topic, it can make the text more accessible. And this is true even for upper grades, okay? Children's literature like this, which is picture book based. I mean, it's got a lot of pictures, but it has a lot of informational text. But this is the story of a girl who visits the Grand Canyon, and she discovers the biology and the ecology and the history, both cultural history and also, so you can see here, right here, the human history, so both cultural history and geologic history of the Grand Canyon. So by pairing those two texts together, you can make the content more accessible to students. And so what you're going to be doing is finding a textbook and a piece of children's literature. A lot of the class is volunteering or working at a school already. So I have faith that she'll be able to find a textbook. If you can't, I do have linked some open source textbooks, but those are the last choice, okay? I do have 2 examples linked for you. Let's look at Blackboard and I'll show you the examples. Oh my goodness, I said Blackboard, bright space, sorry. All right, so here are the directions. Find a social studies or history textbook and choose a lesson from that text. Then find a fiction or nonfiction supplemental children's book. Explain how you would use those 2 pieces of text together. So you have to list all of this for each of the texts. You can do it in Google Doc. I've also seen it done in a Google slide deck. That also worked. I've seen it in a Google Sheet. It could be in a Word document if you attach that as well. If absolutely cannot find a textbook, then you can use this Michigan Open Book Project. But again, last resort, because we only have 8 weeks, I don't want anyone stressing that they haven't been able to find a textbook. So here are the examples. All right, so here's one example. This is pretty common to use a table to put what you're looking and then compare the 2 books like this. Okay, so the topic, what you're going to use, the synopsis of it, and then this last part is sort of a narrative of how you would use those 2 texts together, and then what the ELA standards are that match that assignment. So English Language Arts standards. Here's another example done differently. So they did their textbook first, and then they did their children's literature, and then they did their procedure. Both of those are acceptable. Both of these are A assignments. So again, I've also seen it in Google Sheet and in Google Docs. So there are different ways to present it, but this is the amount of detail I'm looking for. Okay, it's not overly detailed of an assignment. All right, then you're going to be reading from the book and then discussing. Apologize for this typo there, bright space. So let's in bright space. So be very careful because it's not all of chapter 7 and chapter 8 because that would be overwhelming. So 20 pages from chapter 7 and 20 pages from chapter 8. If you have an older version of the textbook, ask your group what the sections start with. If no one responds, ask me, and then I will get you the section titles. And then these are the questions to discuss in Slack. Slack discussions so far have been incredible and amazing, and I love them, and they fill my bucket. So keep up the good work on Slack. When you go into grades, just a friendly reminder that if you have a 0, I just didn't see it. That could be a mistake. When I'm going through Slack and I'm trying to keep track of who's participated, occasionally I do miss a student. It happens. So if you were like, no, I did participate, don't worry. I didn't give you a 0. I just didn't see it. And then check your comments on your assignments because there were a couple of assignments for the content standards that were not complete. And so I put a comment and say, when you finish this and when you finish this, turn it back in and I'll grade your grade. I think that's it for week 4. It's just really the 4 things, the video, then the current events on the Padlet, the twin texts, and then the reading and discussion. So I hope you have a wonderful week. If anything comes up, let me know. You know, I get emails, people are like, oh no, my schedule changed, or I got sick, or my kids got sick. Just let me know. I'm here to work with you. We are learners in this together, so if you need any additional time, as long as you keep me in the loop and I know what's going on, I'm happy to help you through the semester. So I hope you have a fantastic week. We're all looking forward to being cooler on Wednesday, and so I hope you make it through the heat of Monday and Tuesday.